maybe there's some personal stuff going on with Picard. You mentioned revisiting Irumodic syndrome. I mentioned something more personal, like the death of his wife. You could even say it was Crusher, who passed away, and he's sort of withdrawn, and Geordi's worried about him, and he thinks getting him out into space might help, revive him a little.
Yeah.
His zest for life again. Because he's only 78, and in Star Trek years, he's got another 30 or 40 left.
Right.
Remember, Bones lived to 128 or something like that.
137 years, Admiral, according to Starfleet records.
We didn't see him die. He might still be around for all we fucking know.
Yeah.
What's so damn troublesome about not having died?
So after the USS Destroyer gets blown up, they all have to be on the Galaxy. I guess you have to have them on, like, the new slick ship at first. Everything's modern and super high-tech. This ship can do anything, then that has to get blown up. And then, like, the survivors, the skeleton crew, the younger kids, and Picard. They were, like, on the Galaxy at the time the disaster happened. The only ship we've got available to us, we made it here. We've got to get on this old, broken-down Galaxy-class ship.
What is the premise? If the idea is to find the Galaxy and get on it, you don't want them to get stuck. Like, oh, we're stuck in the Gamma Quadrant on the USS Galaxy. We've got to take it back to the Alpha Quadrant, to the Federation, because then you have the same premise as Voyager.
Yeah.
And then you have the logic of, well, if they found the ship, just have a bunch of other ships warp there and tow it back. Mission over. You need some sort of thing that keeps them on board it, and keeps other people away from it, but also allows you to do standalone episodes and adventures. And so that's really the tough part, is what is the logic of keeping them all on the ship as this crew? Voyager, it's obvious. In the timeline, what is going on in Star Trek? The last thing that we saw...
In the Star Trek Online game, Sorry.
Yes, that's a good note. Your bizarre outburst there brought up a good point. There's canon. There's probably been 100 books written. Captain Picard during the Dominion War. Captain Picard after the Dominion War. The Star Trek Online game. Numerous things that probably may or may not be considered canon. Some things are Paramount. Some things are CBS. Don't know. All I know is the last time we saw Captain Picard was at the end of Star Trek Nemesis,
where he was super depressed and everyone was super depressed. And that's how they ended Star Trek The Next Generation, with everybody depressed. Totally better than All Good Things.
I should have done this a long time ago.
You were always welcome.
And the sky's the limit.
The Shinzon, one of Tom Hardy's greatest performances. Shinzon betrayed everybody and went insane, and then the Romulans teamed up with Star Trek Enterprise E, and they blew up Shinzon. And the Romulan lady said, perhaps, Captain Picard, this is a new day between the Federation and the Romulans.
You've earned a friend in the Romulan Empire today, Captain. I hope the first of many.
So you left with a glimmer of hope that perhaps the Romulans won't be so adversarial in the near future.
But Mike, we learned in Star Trek 2009, written by Alex Kurtzman,
I had to extract the red matter and shoot it into the supernova.
that a supernova apparently blew up the entire Romulan Empire, which presumably spanned multiple star systems. That black eye is forever there on the Prime timeline.
I'm going to ignore.
Yes! Common sense for the win!
We're ignoring all that. It seemed like the entirety of the Alpha Quadrant,
Listen closely.
towards the ending of Deep Space Nine, all got together and said, let's work together and stop the fucking Dominion. So, to me, that would seem like perhaps we had a nice span of a few decades of galactic peace.
Because you need, here's the one thing that isn't clearly defined here. The season-long arc. This is important. I'm curious what you got.
I'm thinking, I mean, it's all very vague right now. But
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking, like, you have this old ship, right? No more Galaxy classes exist.
Mm-hmm.
This ship is unique. and perhaps it went somewhere, like kind of like what's that movie, Event Horizon?
Yeah.
It went somewhere bad, and it came back almost like a Trojan horse.
Like the Defiant from the original series. I'm just coming up with this out of nowhere. Every now and then, Star Trek mentions like civilizations that used to exist like 30,000 years ago. Maybe you got one of those civilizations that got themselves caught in some kind of time anomaly, or maybe they were trapped by the other civilizations 30,000 years ago in order to stop them by capturing them in some kind of time anomaly. But now, 30,000 years later, that's starting to break down. Every now and then, the hold, whatever pocket dimension they're stuck in, opens up, and that's how the galaxy got stuck in there in the first place. But that's breaking down. These things are starting to get loose, right? And so then you can have the galaxy kind of like lost within these time anomalies, and that's why they can't just call for backup. They're popping in and out all over the place, maybe trying to find their way back. But you can have them going to different places and times. And that's when you can get different adventures. You can throw in an episode, if they're popping around different times, where we see the Galen planet before it gets destroyed. Maybe Picard gets to visit that planet. That'd be neat.
Okay, so instead of distance like Voyager,
Yeah.
it's time.
Yes.
All right, Rich Evans. That's why you get paid the big bucks.
to come up with story ideas for a show that will never exist.
But it has to be the ship itself that's causing the anomalies, or no?
Or tied to it somehow. Whatever. You can bloody gobbledygook out of your ass.
Well, I mean, you need it to make sense.
Yeah.
The time that the galaxy exists in currently is being changed.
Mm-hmm.
You could even have an episode, because it's projected, I think, that in the far, far, far future, the Andromeda galaxy will eventually collide.
Oh my god, that's a fucking awesome idea! That is a fucking awesome idea!
It's like a big star starts to appear.
We see what happens to Starfleet in like 100,000 years. Are they still around?
Well, yeah. I was thinking more of the physical change of the galaxy.
Well, that's like in a whole other episode too, though. I mean, you can do the episode with the Andromeda. You see Andromeda, then another episode where we're 100,000 years in the future. What's happened to Starfleet?
Because I'm picturing a giant star just appearing in the middle of some known civilization, some inhabited star system. Jody, we need that warp drive. See, I'm thinking something like the galaxy is sort of like the zipper, you know, that's pulling apart.
Okay.
And they don't know it quite yet.
Yeah.
But eventually they do. That it's been rigged to cascade these events. There has to be somebody in charge of this.
Yeah.
Where an ancient civilization was going to die, but they figured out a way to come back. Perhaps the galaxy went through some kind of time distortion and ended up there, and they used it as sort of like a Trojan horse as a tool. Like they knew. I mean, it sounds a little extravagant, but you could whittle it down. You could whittle it down. If
you go into like the distant past of Star Trek, there's things you could revisit. You could dig out of the lore that would be fun to see.
Yeah.
You could. Do you remember the first Frankie episode with the ancient guardian of the planet? You could work him in somehow.
The Empire is forever.
Your empire fell prey to a supernova.
It needs to be about 20%.
Do you remember like the time portal from the original series? The first humanoid race that all of the other races came about from? You could.
But what is the life of one race compared to the vast stretches of cosmic time?
You could visit all of these different things if you really widen and jump around the Star Trek timeline.
Don't forget the dinosaurs from Star Trek Voyager.
Oh yeah, I'd like to.
So then you'd have to come up with these options like, why don't we just blow up the galaxy, USS Galaxy, you know? And that's hey, there's a giant bow on this package.
Yeah. Oh God, what is it?
You said we're sitting here talking the whole time about a galaxy-wide phenomenon. And what's the name of the fucking ship?
Jesus Christ! Yeah. This is one message on the computer. The galaxy is unraveling. I know the ship's really falling apart. They don't get it yet. They don't get the message left behind by the old crew just yet.
Right.
They only got fragments.
But yeah, so you want strong characters. You have a crew of cadets. Bring Barkley on board.
It's Barkley's kid, who's like super competent and self-assured. you can have the twist.
Shouldn't you be worrying about that?
He's too overconfident. He's headstrong.
Yeah, there's a cadet on board. Sam Barkley.
Oh no.
Right. Admiral Picard, Sam Barkley.
20%
At
cooler.
your service.
Yo, not what I expected.
For me.
But yeah, as far as characters go, see, that's why I kind of like the three mains as Picard, Geordi, and Dr. Leah Brahms, because they're just like, you don't want to dredge up everybody.
You don't want to dredge up everybody, but I think for mains, you gotta be Picard and Geordi, but you need at least one or two of the kids to be major character.
No. I mean, yeah, you're looking at maybe 7 or 8 main
Yeah.
characters.
Oh yeah.
You bring up some of the cadets, the ones that have the best personality quirks or skills. You know, obviously you'll need a helmsman. You'll need there might even be like an engineering student that Geordi brings along to teach. It'll be a great opportunity to learn about how an old warp drive works. So yeah, I mean, like those are the details. We're just talking big picture stuff.
I think it's if you have a more of a science mystery than another. This is the race with the guns we need to take care of. I think that's a good thing if it's more science-based with your mystery.
An ancient race trying to transform the current state of the galaxy into what it used to be.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Voyager when the guys, the dad
Needs
from
to be about 20%
that
cooler.
70s show is trying to change how time is.
Yeah.
In the blink of an eye, I had changed history itself.
I was brilliant.
Allowed my people to thrive again.
Something like that. Definitely where the ship is, whoever is on the ship needs to be on the ship, and they're all kind of like connected to it in some way, where it's, like I said, Trojan horse. But room for standalone adventures, room for some good characterization, some good character stuff, and kind of slow it down a bit. Overarching science mystery, couple of fun moments. We get to bring back a Galaxy-class ship, and Picard, his character gets, instead of man in tank top, ripping the spine of the Borg Queen out and breaking it in half. God. He's back to being thoughtful, Picard.
Yeah.
Star Trek Galaxy, everyone.
Where the climax is a stirring speech and not a gunfight. Your race wants to live, but we're here too. And we've done great things. We've achieved peace in our time. Okay.
So they get basically
needs to be
a
about
throwaway
20%
mission
cooler.
because they're working with Auron, who is disgraced, and Andalites don't like him, so they kind of just like kick him out of society under the table, like giving him all the garbage missions. They need to go track down a ship of an alien species called the Skrit-Na. The Skrit-Na are a bunch of like intergalactic hoarders and scavengers. They, from what I can tell, they're essentially Animorphs' version of the Greys. They go and abduct people and steal technology and sell it and trade it and all that shit. They are completely neutral in this conflict because they are unfit to be controllers, so the Yeerks can't infest them. And the Andalites just kind of don't like them because they're kind of just scumbags, you know? The Skrit-Na, they're basically like a metamorphizing, I don't know if that's the right way, they go through metamorphosis. There's Skrits and there's Na. The Skrit are like these big bug creatures that are really dumb, and then they form a cocoon, and then out comes like a Na, which is like their second form in life, and they're smaller, they kind of skirt around a bunch of the legs, they have big beady eyes, kind of like a gray alien, but they have these weird like spindly bodies, and they're much more intelligent. So they are trying to track them down because the Skrit-Na ship went to some primitive fucking planet and did some shit, and they want them to stop that because the Andalites are like, that's bad. So Elfangor and his buddies go and basically attack this ship, and this is the first time Elfangor's ever been in combat. He does a pretty good job, impresses the Andalites they're working with, and they board the ship. And the planet they went to was Earth, and they had abducted 2 humans on the ship, among other random collection of junk and shit they just found on Earth.
Was one of them Marco's mom?
No. The 2 humans were a character we've not met so far named Lauren, and she's like a young girl. And then the other human they abducted was Chapman, which, if you remember, Chapman is the principal of their school, who's one of the first controllers they found. This is him back in the 70s when he's like a young man. So he is one of the first people that the Andalites and Yeerks ever made contact with.
It's an improvement, Donnie.
And so they rescue these 2 guys. They beat up the Skritna and just kind of let them get away. There's 2 Skritna ships. They board one, the other one escapes, and they're like, whatever, fuck them. They're not that important. We got the shit back that we needed. And they're going to just take them back to Earth. It's just like, you're not supposed to be here. We're going to take you back to Earth. I'm going to wipe your memory so you don't remember any of this shit. You're an undeveloped species. You're not supposed to know this shit exists yet. Whatever. But while Arbron, which is, Elfangor's friend, is going through the computer files that were on the Skritna ship, they discover a really strange reading. A very powerful, bizarre reading that seems to defy their expectations. And this, it doesn't exactly explain how they know what this is, but they infer that it is an ancient artifact that was thought to not even be real, called the Time Matrix. The Time Matrix
doesn't sound like that big a deal.
No. The Time Matrix, as it is explained, is an artifact created millennia ago by the Illimist. And it basically is an artifact that gives you the power of the Illimist if you use it. It can create new realities, it can alter this reality in time and space in any way you want to. And the Skritna deal with the Yeerks all the time. They sell them stuff. So if the Yeerks find out this other Skritna ship has the Time Matrix, they can end the war instantly by going back in time, creating, adjusting the universe so that the Andalites never existed, or they can do whatever the fuck they want. It's bad. It's the most powerful relic known to anything. It's a huge, big fucking deal. And apparently, it was just buried under the pyramids on Earth a bajillion fucking years ago. Some backwater planet that nobody knows about.
We learned all about
For
this.
them.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's right next to the old battleship.
Yeah, so the
Can you
illness is
explode
foe.
twice?
Confirmed.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Donnie.
So, they still have Lauren and Chapman in tow. And once they find out that this artifact exists, they're like, we can't take you back to your planet yet. We have to go get this fucking artifact. It's way more important. We're sorry, but this is like the real fucking shit. This is stuff you don't understand. We need to go do that. So they track the Skritna ship, and they are going to one of the Yeerk big bases, which is the Taxon homeworld.
It needs to be about
You're called
20%
Taxons,
cooler.
the big giant centipedes with the insatiable hunger. This is like one of the Yeerks' big forward operating bases, because again, the Taxons willingly allied with the Yeerks.
Is this book written in the same style as the other ones?
Yes, this is all first person from Elfangor's point of view. The way the book is structured is that there's a prologue where Elfangor is dying, or he knows he's about to die, right before the series actually starts, where he gives them their powers, and he's kind of this is his final will and testament. He's recording thought speech into the computer, and it's recounting his life, and basically it goes from his beginning of his career all the way to right where the series starts. And we're going to recount all those events and understand more of his role in this entire kind of endeavor. So they are still under the command of Prince Alaron. They are not telling their fleet, the fleet that they were with, about this because they just don't have the time. They have to go fucking take care of this immediately because the Skritna are just going to go sell this thing immediately. So they don't have any time to waste. They immediately bomb rush the Taxon homeworld. But they can't just go there immediately, just bomb in, because there's defenses all around the planet and stuff. This is one of their big locations. At this point, I think this is one of 3 big locations the Yeerks have. They have their home planet, they have the Taxon homeworld, and the Hork-Bajir homeworld. Those are the 3 big species they've conquered so far. So they hatch a plan, because they're in this, Alaron ship is custom designed, it's a stealth ship. So it has active cloaking, they can stay hidden.
The Normandy.
Basically the Normandy. A little smaller than the Normandy, but essentially the same idea. So they are going to sneak onto a Yerk ship in orbit, like a transport ship. They're going to acquire Taxon morphs, basically pass themselves off as Taxons, go down to the planet, find the Skritnosh ship, hijack it, and get out of there before anybody can realize what happens. Brilliant plan. Nothing could possibly go wrong. They all fucking attack this ship, and during it, they find out that this transport ship is carrying like thousands of Yerks just in stasis, waiting for hosts. Alaron is like, we gotta fucking murder these guys. It's like we can do a huge amount of damage by killing all these Yerks, just jettison them into space. Nobody will notice. And Elfangor's like, no, we can't do that. They're innocent. He's a bleeding heart little bitch.
Pussy shit.
So they clash over this, and Alaron is kind of mad that Elfangor won't listen to him, even though he's just a fucking cadet. Arbrun basically brokers peace between the two and says, look, we're really close to the Taxon homeworld. They might be able to detect thousands of their people just kind of floating off in space. That would alert them to our presence. Let's wait till later at least. Let's go get the time matrix first. This is more important than this blow, that would basically be done in an emotional outburst. So they go down to the planet, they morph Taxons, they get down there, and unfortunately, immediately, a Taxon is just like... Again, the Taxons have like this insatiable hunger, and as soon as they morph, they're all desperately trying to like fight against that insatiable hunger. It's like described in painful detail. It's just like all-consuming. Like it's like going insane slowly. And there is a Taxon that just like falls off a ledge, and like the Taxons are really weak. So like if you just like touch them the wrong way, they just burst open. And every Taxon on the planet starts eating this fun that just fucking dies. And so, like, in Morph, Elfangor's like, no, I don't want to fucking eat the thing, but it can barely resist. And so he, like, desperately pulls himself away. And the problem is, by doing that, he reveals that, like, no Taxon would act like that. They would immediately go and fucking eat that thing. So he gets separated from all his buddies here and is captured by a Yerk. This Yerk realizes, like, you must be an Andalite bandit in Morph. The Yerk name is, I believe, Sub-Visser 7? Yeah, Sub-Visser 7. So this is a pretty high-ranking guy. Not a full Visser, but a sub-Visser. So he's like kind of in charge of this particular place they landed in on the Taxon homeworld. And so he figures out and deduces that he's an Andalite in disguise. And when Elfangor refuses to talk, he's like, well, here's a bunch of free Taxons just hanging out down here. I'm just gonna kick you down to this pit and let them fucking eat you. So he falls. As he's falling, he starts trying to demorph into Andalite form as they're ripping and tearing at his Taxon body, bleeding and going everywhere. But he like tries to focus and morph. He's able to morph his tail and use the tail to like slice these guys up, and they start eating each other. Like one of the Taxons he slices in half, the top half starts eating the bottom half. Because the hunger, it's just unfucking controllable. So in the chaos, he morphs into like a Andalite species of bird and flies away, and they're trying to kill him and shoot him as he runs away. So at this point, he's trying to find his buddies, like Arbrun and Alaron, and regroup and be like, okay, we need to get to the Skritnosh ship, we're gonna do this. Like the plan is kind of falling apart, this does not go the way we wanted it to. He doesn't know where they are. And so he just basically beelines it for the ship, and he finds Arbrun there in Taxon morph. And he's like, okay, Arbrun, we gotta sneak aboard this ship. And while they're about to sneak on the ship, their ship that they left in orbit lands. The humans, Chapman, who has been distrusting of these guys ever since they met, lands the ship and tries brokering a deal with the Yerk to get them, the Yerks, to take him back to his planet. Because they're twice now they've kind of denied taking him home first. So he's just like, you guys are fucking assholes. I'm gonna go talk to the other team. Maybe they'll take me home. So he exposes the existence of Earth to the Yerks just to get his ass home faster.
Principles, am I right?
Jesus.
This is generally considered to be a bad move. So this happens. Lauren is just like under protest. And so now he has two things. They have to get the Skritnosh ship, they have to get the time matrix, and they have to rescue these guys, because if they find out about Earth, that's a big fucking problem. Did you?
I have to imagine that this principal like is a major character who's just like a general pain in the ass boomer guy. Like
he's emanating some hardcore boomer energy. You know, he's kind of a jack. I mean, they find out eventually he's like a willing controller, and this is kind of like his backstory of how he's just like he's been a controller, you know, for a while, obviously, if this is like his first interaction with the Yeerks and stuff. All right, anyways. So they get on the Skritna ship because they prioritize the time matrix over the humans because this is like the big fucking thing to do. And so they get on the ship, they take off. The Yeerks realize something's bad because like the ship's not supposed to be taking off right now, and they basically run away. And once they're on the ship, he's like, okay, we're safe. Arbin, demorph. He can't. Arbin is now trapped as a